Well, hey fans, welcome back to another movie review, and today we're talking about Mufasa, the Lion King. So before I get to the rest of the review, I'd like to thank the sponsor for this video, MoviePass. So MoviePass is back and it's better than ever. It's a subscription-based ticketing service, and I've been using it for a few months now, and I just think it's great. And they have this neat new black card, and it feels great, and it's very easy to use. And unlike your AMC A-List or your Regal Unlimited, you can use MoviePass at almost any theater, and it is very simple to use. They now go off of a points-based system, so you pay every month, and that will vary depending on the market that you live in, and you'll get a certain amount of points to use for movies. And the price in terms of points for the movies varies depending on the day of the week that you go to the theater, the time of the showing, and how recently the movie has been released. So what you'll do is you'll go into the app, you'll click the movie that you want to see, unlock the card, and then pay. You can also pick the online option for just a few more points if you don't want to wait in line. So again, thank you to MoviePass. So Mufasa the Lion King is a photorealistically animated musical drama directed by Barry Jenkins, starring Donald Glover, Beyoncé, Mads Mikkelsen, Thandiwe Newton, Pierre, Kelvin Harrison Jr, Blue Ivy Carter, Anika Noni Rose, Kani, Seth Rogen, Billy Eichner, and many other names. And this is a follow-up to the 2019 remake of The Lion King. And I say follow-up because this movie actually serves as a sequel and a prequel. It tells the origins of Mufasa and how he became the king of the Pride Lands. And the way the story is told, it starts with Timon and Pumba telling Kiara a story before Rafiki decides to take over and tell a different story. Now the setup of this is pretty much just like Lion King 1.5, where Timon and Pumbaa in that animated movie were retelling Lion King 1. But in this, instead, they tell an entirely different story. And I really like that. I like all of the lore that they added here. Like Kiara's younger brother, Kion, who's from that new animated series. He's actually born in this movie. You see him at the end, so that was really enjoyable. And there are some weird things they added as well. Like in terms of Rafiki, they give him a love interest that I don't think is necessary because she's in it for like the scenes where he's in that tree at the beginning and then she's gone and she's never mentioned again. I think there's some little weird plot hole in terms of Rafiki having a brother, which I think they kind of changed that storyline because at the end the brother ends up being Mufasa, but they do kind of allude to that he actually had a real brother at some point. So I think they kind of changed that and forgot to make it make sense throughout the story. It's fine, but it's just something I picked up on. Well, in terms of the voice acting, Blue Ivy Carter is great, Pierre is great, Kelvin Harrison is great, Beyonce and Donald Glover, they're like barely in the movie. I don't even think they necessarily needed them back, but I mean, it's Beyonce's daughter. I see why she's going to be in the movie. And in terms of like a live action type of remake, it's not real live action. Like I said, it's a photorealistically animated movie. The animals look real. The only difference is that in this one, the animals do feel a little more cartoonish. Their mouths move a little more in sync with the words that they're saying. They are able to give off more emotion than they did in that original film, and I think that makes it better because it links it a little bit closer to that original animated movie. Like I said, I love all the lore that they added to this movie. I love finding out about how Mufasa and Scar, I love their relationship and how it starts in this movie. Now, in terms of when I first heard about this movie, I first heard about the story, you find out that it was supposed to be Scar who was going to be king, and that Mufasa was his adopted brother into the family. He became king. Now, hearing that premise, that's great, and that is a good backstory for why Scar would be so upset at his brother for being king when it definitely should have been his, and especially if he's the one who brought him into the family. So I think that initial premise is good, but they kind of take it a little too far. So in the movie, Mufasa is with his parents, and they are in this dried out part of Africa. They don't say where, but he is separated from them, and he thinks that they have passed away. He is saved as a kid by Scar, who is Taka in this movie. He's not Scar yet, he is Taka. And in that first scene where they meet, there's such a great drawback to the first movie where Scar kills him, of him saving him by pulling him up out of the water. And I thought that was fantastic. So Taka takes to Mufasa immediately and says, you know what, you can come live with me and my mom. And his mom's like, no, your dad would never allow this. He's like, Mom, please, we should still try. So he goes to the dad, and Dad's like, look, if you beat my son in a race, you will get to stay in the family. And of course, Taka lets him win. And the only thing is that, all right, you can stay with us, but you have to live with the women. Now, for those who don't know anything about lions, the female lions are actually the ones who go out and they do the hunting and they bring back the food. The male lions, since they are bigger and stronger, they're strictly there for breeding purposes and for protection in case anybody tries to harm the pride. So Mufasa, being a male lion, he learns all the skills and techniques and the hunting ability of the female lions, while of course growing up to be big and strong, while Taka is forced to be with the lazy males. So there is an incident that forces Taka and Mufasa to go into hiding. Before they go, Mufasa is tasked with protecting Taka, and they're looking to find like this mythical land of Malele where the food is lush and it never dries out. And on their way, they meet Sarabi, they meet Zazu, they meet Rafiki, and you get to exactly see how those first lions in this crew came together. And like I said, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the lore that they added. I enjoyed the brotherly bond. I enjoyed the songs. I always wanted a brother. I always wanted a brother. That's like probably the best song in the movie. It's really catchy and it sticks in your head. But I thought it was a good story. I do feel like this would have made, in terms of like, sometimes the plot can be a little thin. It would have made a great animated movie back in the day after the original Lion King was released. And my main issue, I feel that with the great setup of how Taka and Mufasa become brothers, their falling out does not work as well to me, because the falling out is over Sarabi, who they met, like, in terms of the movie's timeline, like a couple days ago. They meet this female lion, and then Mufasa's not really falling for her. He's kind of falling for her, but not the same way that Taka all of a sudden just falls for her. And then when it turns out she likes Mufasa more, he's like, I'm done with you, I want to kill you. And I just didn't really care for that. He goes to the evil lions and stages this plot. And it's very similar to the expanded universe. There is a Lion King expanded universe about how Scar got his scar and took on that nickname. And basically that's what happens here. Taka in this movie is basically Loki, but in the opposite, because he is the actual rightful brother. And like I said, I didn't enjoy that turn for him, and I didn't necessarily enjoy the way he and Mufasa halfway reconcile the end where they're still brothers, but it's like, I'm only going to call you Scar now. Just kind of felt out of place. And in terms of like, it takes a little away from the regular movie, because in terms of royalty, Taka is royalty, Sarabi is royalty, Kairos, the evil lion, he's royalty. But Mufasa, like, he was just with his parents. Like, he was just like a normal lion. And I don't know why he isn't a prince. It's just like all these lion tribes, and they each have a king and a queen and a prince or a princess or whatever. But Mufasa just comes from just like these normal lions. So in that aspect, like, if Scar and Mufasa had a falling out, Scar could have just left and started his own tribe somewhere else. He didn't have to be in the Pride Lands. Like, they do the whole thing where like everything the light touches, I am ruler of. Cross back over the mountains to where he was born. That was another lush land. He could have easily gone back and started another pride. So they kind of take away from it there. But in terms of like a Disney movie, it was good. I think I'm gonna give it a decent 8 out of 10. Like I said, I enjoyed the music, I enjoyed most of the plot. The voice acting is good, the story's fine, and I do think the turn for Taka into Scar, didn't really care for it, but I don't think it takes me out of the lore that much. So I want to see more from this universe. I want them to do Lion King 2 Simba's Pride in live action. I would really like to see it, and that could round out whatever this trilogy is going to be, because that's all you need is 3 good movies. In terms of release, they should not have released this around Christmas. The first one was released during the summer, made like $1.6 billion. This one would be lucky to crack $500 million, I think, which is fine, but of course it's Disney, they want more. They should have waited and released it during the summer of 2025. But if you like Disney movies, if you like Lion King, if you like a story about brothers falling out, you know, the old Magneto and Professor X story, this is the movie for you. I'd like to thank you guys again for joining me for this movie review. You can find the full review on YouTube and the website, flipfrogllc.com/flicksfrog. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.